You got the surround sound version.
Happy birthday, RJ.
Thank you.
RJ, is it your birthday? Are you finally 30 years old?
I wish I would turn 30 again. The recovery from the weekend might be a little easier, but
I love it. I love it. That's freaking awesome. Good for you. Did you have fun?
my sister actually planned an entire day of surprises on Saturday, took me for pedicures and manicures, and then between her and my best friend, they organized a whole surprise party at a bar in Barrie. So it was a
Shut
really,
up.
really
You're
cool
the
day.
one I heard about at the bar and Barry. That's awesome. Way to go. I was like, literally, I was getting my nails done a couple weeks ago, and they're like, hey, why don't we do a pedicure? I'm like, listen, if you saw my feet, you'd be like, did you walk here? Did you crawl here? Like, what the hell just happened? They'd be like, what's all over that? So, anyway, well, happy birthday. It's awesome. All right,
Thank
we're just
you.
like everybody in, so it's awesome. We're getting ready for summer season, which is like, I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about a few different things today. But I'm going to keep it open. The second half, I'm going to be keeping it open because I want to hear a lot from you guys on this because we're going to do some like rapid coaching on this as well. So amazing. But I want us to have a kick ass summer. So I'm going to start off with just showing you something that's going to make you go, okay. So we're going to get right into the numbers right out of the gate. All right. So anybody think that the third quarter, which is July, August, and September, RJ's like, I'm out. I'm done. She's like, I'm done. That's it. Okay, I know she's got her notebook. All right, so let's just kind of hear it. Does anybody think we're gonna have an amazing July, August, and September for sales?
I do.
Oh, RJ, are you
I
still
think
drunk from the weekend? Are you?
maybe still a little pickled. I
Did
know.
you fall
I
down and
think it's
hit
going
your
to be
head?
a good. I think it's going to be a good third quarter. My third quarter is lining up to look pretty good so far, so that's what I'm basing it off of.
Awesome. So we're going to two-part that. First of all, we are going to have a great third quarter. Okay, so we will all have a great third quarter. The rest of the market will not. Okay, so we're just letting you know, so everybody else is going to suck, but we're going to do just fine. I'm going to give you a snapshot. Remember something that I always coach on, guys. It's not to scare the shit out of you or give you doom and gloom. It's just I'm a statistic person. I'm an analysis person. I believe in preparing for something before. So if the tsunami is coming, we don't actually wait for it to come. We kind of prepare for it, and we still have lots of time to prepare for it. So let's show you what the stats are going to look like. Let's get into stat heaven. All right. We are here. Let's let Kim in. Here we go. Great group today, guys. Okay. And you can ask me anything. Just cut me off. I'm okay with it. I'm used to it. Always cut me off. It's all good. All right, so here's the nitty gritty, itty bitty. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look. Existing home sales is where we're focused, which is this line right here that I've highlighted. You don't need to know much except for the fact, and I'm just going to, and again, you just cut me off if you need to. This is last year's numbers. First quarter was -4. Second quarter is -1. We had a great summer. We had a July, August, September last year that was really good. And then we took a little bit of a turn in the fourth quarter with a negative. We've had a tough year, guys. Nobody's ever going to lie. All right. We had a tough year. So what we're looking at here, sorry, I'm just clearing the messages. All right. So first quarter, we had -8. Then we hit what we're in now, which is -6. Okay. We are heading into a -9. That's bigger than any negative quarters last year or the year before. And then we'll finish off with another negative. Okay. I would say, let's hold off on the fourth quarter. Let's not pretend. Tara, this is actually probably one of the most accurate for your Barrie and surrounding areas. Okay, so localization, Ontario is predictive of most markets. Where this wouldn't be applicable is downtown Toronto. So this would not be applicable in Sudbury, Ontario, downtown Toronto, either the super big metropolis condo areas like Toronto or the very small rural. You would be impacted probably more in those areas. Okay, so this is going to be a generalization on that. So I would say you're not far off, not far off at all from any of this if you're in Ontario in general. The only time you're going to see difference is small rurals and mega condo areas or the GTA in the core or luxury as well. In those categories, you'll feel it more, not less. Okay. There's not really any segment that's super sexy right now. So it's fine. But it also doesn't matter. I think I've always been very clear about this. Don't really care what these predict. We defy it. We just don't, we use them as measurables. Like I said, it's like looking at the weather. You're like, oh, okay, it's going to be cold. It's going to be a cold week next week. Okay, well, then, pack something to wear. Simple as that. So we don't actually worry about these except for the fact that it's a predictory. Great question, though. Thank you. Price wise is right below it. They're anticipating just a little bit more of a price drop and adjustments right now. So we're seeing a little bit of that as well. So what you really want to do is you want to look at July, August, September. Please do not take your foot off the pedal. That's the first advice I'm going to give you. Don't take your foot off the pedal. If you take your foot off the pedal, you're going to hit that lag that we don't want to hit. But we want you to actually have a lot of fun in the summer too. Okay, you don't need to kill yourself in this industry to actually succeed in any capacity. And we'll cover that in a second. Before I leave this, unmute yourself and just ask any questions or put them in the chat, whatever it is. If you have any market questions, anything at all related to what the economy is going to be doing and what's happening here, speak now or forever hold your peace. Feel free to ask. Totally okay with it. Totally okay. And I'll give it 2 seconds because if there is none, that means we're going to have a wicked quarter.
I got an email the other day from a mortgage agent mentioning something about tariffs increasing, which would then hold interest rates or bond yields that were, or something else that was going to increase them. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so bond yields going up. So we are anticipating, so we can go back to that chart, which I'm going to see if I can go right back to it. I want to show you something because it's actually in there. So you can take a really good look at predictory analysis quite a bit. And this is usually completely right. I was going to take you into my email. Great question. So what you're looking at is go to the financial right here. You can see it. I'll blow it up a little. Here we go. Overnight rate. You can see right here, there's no variable changes that they're predicting. So 2.25 steady right through this year. They're not predicting anything changing necessarily on variable. It's right here. Right there. Sorry. There we go. So we're going to hold, it looks like. Okay. Now, 3-month T-bill, 10-year bond yields. If you take a look, this is what they're referring to. There's a bit of a wonkiness happening there. So that will likely mean that fixed rates will go up a bit. Okay, so to answer your question, we are anticipating they have no choice. So there is a point in the economic forecast where they don't have a choice. When we're talking to our clients, we're just letting them know and going, look, there's not a choice. Now, I just signed a 3-year fixed. So I did 3-year fixed at 3.95, I think it was. I'm happy with it. I'm okay with it. That's not a bad rate, so I'll take it. And this is the first time I've done fixed in a very long time. And the reason why I did it is just because I'm just not confident, even though they say they're not changing variable, I didn't need to go variable. I was like, you know what? I'm happy with what I've got. Okay, so the rates, in my opinion, are still really good. But if you have somebody who doesn't like variable and you like somebody who likes fixed, then my comments to them would be, make sure you're locked in because there is a very high chance that fixed rates will be going up in the next 90 days for sure. No question about it. I would say that's, as clear as the fact that, you know what, I'm wearing a white shirt. That's as probably clear as it's going to get. So now, is that what's impacting the market? No. Okay, so if you really want to know the truth, I'm going to tell you something that I posted in a blog today. You may love it, you may hate it. Why do we think that the market is so slow right now? Like, it is slow. Or like, you'll notice something. You may agree with this, you may not. Does anybody have any comments on why the market's kind of like stagnant a bit? It's okay. There's no wrong answer to this one. There's a lot of variables. So why don't we pick on Tara? Tara, why do you think the market's a little like sluggy right now?
Thank you so much for calling on me.
You look great. You look really good. I mean, I'm just going to say you look really good. So
Thank you. I'll take the comment. Basically, I think it's sluggy right now just because of the tariffs and what's happening in the US, and people don't know what the banks are going to do. There's a lot of questions. there's also a lot of inventory, and people have the ability to take their time and really, pick and choose and be, picky about it. So I think that's got a bit to do with it. Your thoughts?
No, she nailed it. So it's the second part. So I swear we didn't practice this, but it's the second part of what she said that she nailed, right? So when you have buyers that have a lot of choices, believe it or not, it's the agents. So the reason why we're slowing down the market is us. We are the problem. Now I'm going to explain it to you before we get into, taking time off and enjoying the summer and actually working and still accomplishing huge goals. Is that, yeah, you know what, Kim, you're actually really right. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of things happening. Where we're seeing the challenge, I don't know about you guys, but it's on the agent side. And so we had 81 transactions fall apart with our coaching clients last week. 81. I've never in my career as a coach seen 81 deals fall apart. And when I say fall apart, I mean, like, they were either really good offers that came to the finish line, they fell apart, conditional sales falling apart. We've never seen that many in history. We've never seen, and that's just Ontario. If I told you all of Canada, you wouldn't believe me. But 81 deals in Ontario with our clients fell apart in 1 week. It's the biggest week we've ever had in our history of coaching that we saw that. Now, the reason why is we did a dumpster dive into every one of the 81 transactions. And what we found out is that 68% of them didn't have to fall apart. 68%. So, and the reality is that we found that either it wasn't necessarily our clients, but it was a lot of the agents on the other end didn't have the skills to put the deals together. They didn't know how to tell a buyer that the market was good. They didn't know how to tell a listing client that their listing's overpriced, that this is a really good offer. They didn't know how to tell they're showing houses, they're putting in lowball offers, and there was no control over the clients. So when the clients are getting, they're confused and they don't know what's happening in the market, they're getting all this stuff, you need to have really strong skills with being able to work with deals, work with offers, work with objections, work with the skills. And we feel that the realtors right now are just being pulled in 100 different directions. You're being told if you don't learn AI, your business is going to go out of business. If you don't learn if you're not popular on social media, well, I guess you're not relevant. If you don't know how to do a really good video, guess that you're not a good realtor. So we're being pulled in a lot of different directions. And we feel like the biggest direction that we're seeing right now, with 68% of those deals, it was all agents that could have fixed it. We have one working right now. Right now, it's a $1.4 million listing. Think of this for a second. Literally, my team told me that I'm not allowed responding to the text message that I saw. They're like, you can't respond. You got it. And I'm like, my fingers are on fire. I want to respond to it. So one of my coaches is working with this. The client, the agent, has a $1.4 million listing. $1.4 million. It's been on the market for 3 weeks. They've had 4 showings. Now it's 1.4. They have an offer that has come in. Okay, they've only had 4 showings. Okay, offer came in, and the clients are cash, meaning this house is paid for. There's no issues there. The offer came in at 1.36. Great offer. 30-day closing. Everything works. These guys can move on. The clients countered at 1.55. What? What just happened? 1.55. They said, no, we've decided within the last 3 weeks that we feel like 1.55 is what we dreamt of. So we were going to counter at 1.55. And what did the agent do? Countered at 1.55. And what are the buyers doing? Putting an offer on something else. So is that really the market? Or is that just that an agent who doesn't have the skills to sit the client down and have that conversation with them? So mark my words, there is a big variance right now. I think the best investment that anybody could be doing is learning how to talk to other agents, learning the skills, learning how to talk to the clients, going through the consumer stuff, and really having the reports and the ability to talk about that. And if I can tell you 68% right now, that's what's happening. So that's where we're at with that. So it's a really interesting one. Okay, so I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor. Okay, so this is going to be fun. You're all going to get your cell phones out, and I want to hear some answers in the chat box to this one. Okay, so let me pull this up here. I'm going to stop sharing on this one, Okay, I'm going to move that and I'm going to share here. So you're all going to get your cell phones out. Oh, hang on. Stop share. There we go. I had to stop sharing on one. Oh, okay. It's definitely not stop sharing. So we don't know why, but okay. We're just going to roll with what I got here. So I don't think you can see what I'm doing, which is good. So my question to you guys is going to be this. I want you to take out your cell phones and I want you to go to settings and I want you to put in the chat box what your screen time says. So how much screen time does it actually say to you? So I want you to take a look at that. Okay. And then I want to start to hear what it is in your chat. Okay. So this is going to be very important. And if by chance my computer is acting really weird, if you lose me, I'm coming back. Don't worry. I will still be here. But for some reason, the screen share is acting weird. And that's a really strange thing. So I'd like you to go to your settings on your cell phone. I want you to look up the word screen time. Okay. Most cell phones have it. And then you're going to tell us what you guys have. What are we seeing? Let's take a look. Let me see. Okay, let's take a look. I got one in here. So we got one person. One person's telling the truth. Okay, daily average. Jillian is daily average of 5 hours and 21 minutes. Let's go, guys. Let's get your screen share. There's a reason. There's a reason we want to see these. Okay, all right. We got 7 hours. Anna, you are my hero. Laura, okay, cool. 2.2 hours, 5.7, nice. 2 hours, 20, 1 hour, 32. Kim can't find it because it's so bad she doesn't want to look at it. 41 minutes.
Can you say where it is again? One more
It's in
time.
the
I'm so
settings
sorry.
section. So if you go to
Settings?
if you go to settings, it should be in settings. If you have an iPhone, it should be in settings.
I have screen time. It's talking about. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'll figure this out.
Yeah, it might be so bad that it's like, it's looking and it's going, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Okay, so it's possible. Okay, very interesting. So this is strange. Yeah, so interesting. Can't find the history. Kim can't find purple icon under 7. Average crazy. You know what's funny is some people can go all the way up to 7 hours. Okay, so which is really interesting. So when we're looking at screen time or we're looking at different opportunities with people, and when we're looking at your businesses, we look at this screen time and we say to ourselves, this is a really big red flag we have. Now, the reason why we're asking you this is because in real estate, you're going to hear a statistic that is going to be very shocking to some of you guys. Right now, we are averaging, which is one of the craziest things I've ever heard of in my entire career. Okay, we are averaging second of every profession that there is in existence. We are second in real estate to have the highest rate of clinical depression. So it is the second highest, which I don't think should surprise anybody, in my opinion. Now, we're not going to leave it at that and say, hey, you know what? Let's keep it in the doom and gloom mode. No, that's just a reality. Right now, we're averaging second. So one of the sayings that I talk to all the time is that we are asking agents ourselves for more every single time. And I talk about this frequently. We're asking you guys to lead generate. We're asking you guys to be marketers. We're asking you guys to be salespeople, negotiators, skill-driven, administration people, transaction people, content creators. We want you also to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now, if you're not, says it's down. Deanna, good for you. But that might mean we need to kick your ass a little and get you selling. But we're also asking, we're going to figure that one out in a second, Deanna. But I love it. Thanks for sharing. But we're also asking you guys now to hire people for teams, to do this, to do that, to be therapists for our clients. So we need to actually be looking, and that's one of the biggest things, is that we're asking everybody in real estate to do more when you're already at capacity. So that becomes a very big issue for someone like myself, because what we want to start to see if you guys can do is we want to see if we can take you guys and have a really good summer, take some time off, enjoy your life, talk about the frequency behind that, but also at the same token, see your sales go through the roof, because we don't want to get stuck in that zone. So it's about having both right now. So I'm going to ask one more thing of you guys right now, and we are going to have both. How many of you, please put in the chat box again. So we're going to go through it again. I'm going to make you, you know, Kim, you're like me, 7 hours a day on it. That's all right. It's all good. We need help. It's okay. But anyway, so let's take it back for a second. In the chat box, I would like you to listen to the question first before you answer it, because a lot of people jump on this question fast. 1 day off every single week, 100% away from your business. That means no texting, no emailing, no talking about work, don't care, nothing. How many of you, yes, no, answer in the chat box. Am I taking 1 full day off every single week, or am I not? Am I taking that free day off? Am I getting that? So no, 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 no. Laura, that's exhausting. Peter's an almost. I like the people who go, you can't answer yes or no. It's a yes or no. There is no almost. That is a hard no. That was good. I like that. It was good. Yeah, kind of, sort of, not really. Okay, so nobody is taking it then. Okay, I'm gonna try to see if I can screen share this one now. Okay, let's see if I can do it. Can I do it? Will it let me? Fingers crossed. No, it won't. It hates me. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm seeing almost nobody is taking time off. There we go. Perfect. Now I got you. It only took 700 attempts, but I got it. So here's what I want to mention to you guys. Rest is part of creativity, and creativity is part of productivity. So I push the limits to a lot of our clients. They have a lot this year. We have more clients than we've ever had with $100,000 weeks. Okay. We could tell you, I don't want to put them on the spot, but Tamara knows who I work with one-on-one in your office. And I can tell you, they just had $100,000 week last week. So we push the envelopes a lot, but we also push this a lot, because one of the biggest patterns that I see is the more rest that you take, the more creative that your brain gets, and the more creative your brain gets, the more productivity happens. It's the agents that burn themselves out that can't do this. So I'm going to show you this. It's called the zone. It's a very interesting spot. Every single person is different. Everybody is different. We all have what's called the zone. The zone is the one spot where you're challenged, you're engaged, but you're in it, you're happy. Okay, it's called your peak performance. Some of us operate higher zone levels. Some of us start at lower zone levels and we work our way up. And then as time goes by, we become different. But there's a very interesting thing that's happening in the industry right now where too little, if somebody is not being pushed out, and this can be for employees just as much as it is for sales reps as like yourself, right? And what you have to look at is, are you operating too little, where you're bored, you're coasting, you're checked out of the business, you're not really in it? That's a key indicator that you're not living to your capacity. You need to do more. Okay, but then there's the other side, which is what's most frequent right now, which is the too much. If you're going over that sweet spot, I'm going to see you overwhelmed, frazzled, and you're breaking. And this is a real thing. It's the zone is where you operate the best, and knowing where that zone is the most important thing. So if you've ever done this, I was talking to a few agents last week and I used some of their comments. Sitting in cars, staring at the windshield after a showing, just going, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go next. I don't even know what's happening. You're going on vacation, you're coming back totally exhausted, or you're working harder than ever, but you're actually just not having fun. And so these are three really good examples of people who are running on empty. And we say that that's not laziness, it's not lack of discipline, it's what happens when you're running on empty, okay? And so we look at that. And so I'm gonna move forward here. A lot of us don't burn out because of what we're doing, okay? And that we don't love it, okay? And we hate it. A lot of us are burning out because we love what we do so much that we put everything we've got into it. We love our clients so much that we're available 24/7. We love the industry so much that we just don't stop, and we're not stopping. Okay, so this is one of the most important things that we talk about, is that zone. And so one of the things that we talk about is what we call the success trap. And where this plays in for the summertime is that I'm going to show you some things that we do. I specialize in pushing top performance with the lowest effort possible. That is something that I love to do. Okay, if anybody knows my life, they know that I'm all over all the time, but I focus in. This is like my niche of being able to get to the very top of where you want to be performing in that zone without crashing and still getting all the time off in the world that you want. And if you've read the news lately, our industry has lost quite a few really good people in the industry recently. So one of the things that you look at is that, you know what, it's important that you live your life, because this is supposed to be fun, right? And this industry can eat you up a lot because we're putting more on our plate. So the agents who are most likely, and this is really interesting, somewhere along the way, our achievements became our identity, our production is where our self-worth is, and it became who you are, the business. So it's about staying in your zone. So one of the things I'm covering with you, you guys know this about me. You know this is what I used to look like. Okay, that I was over this. This is 50 pounds lighter, and you know this is where I became. But one of the things that we talk about in the PACE model, which is what I want to share with you guys today, and we're going to open it up for questions because I'm whizzing through this, is it's about protecting the person, which is you, attacking, containing, and then engineering yourself. So we're going to look at the first thing here. One of the saddest things that I just saw is this. Okay, and I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I'm just gonna put it right here. Okay, when I asked the question about taking one free day off a week, I got answers: never, no, yes, haha. Which that's probably my answer, right? Haha, right? Anyway, no, 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 no. Another job, almost, no, no, nope, nope. Okay, so nobody answered yes. Not one single person in our group today said, yes, I'm giving myself one full day off a week. If you know how bad that is for you as a brain, as a person, I'm going to tell you, you need to fight your ass off for this one. Okay, remember what I said. Rest gives you creativity. Creativity is the foundation of productivity. If you want to see your numbers go up, you got to take a day off. Yeah, I guarantee you. It's a philosophy that I struggle really hard to explain to everybody, but you need to protect it. If you're looking at the perfect mechanism of what I like to coach our agents on, is I always say, I want one full day off every week. I want one long weekend every month, okay? And I want one full week every quarter, period. And I want it booked a quarter in advance. We hold our agents accountable to this because you need to protect yourselves. If you are a single agent and you're going, how am I going to take a day off a week? First of all, we're in real estate. We are not brain surgeons. Okay, we're not. And when you take 17 steps backwards, you go to yourself, wait a second. First of all, we don't need to be there for everybody. There's tons of great agents that you can do time for time. So if I'm going over to, let's say, Laura, and I'm like, hey, you know what, Laura Lee, you know what? You and I, we're going to trade time for time. You pick a day off, I pick a day off, and we're going to walk away from our businesses. I'm going to forward my stuff to her. I'm going to put an auto reply on with her number. My email's forwarded to her. My voicemail is set up saying Laura Lee is going to be covering me today. My clients are going to know that I'm never working on Wednesdays. I never work Fridays, but I'm going to say never on Fridays. And I'm going to be Laura Lee is covering everything. And if by chance an offer comes in, Laura Lee can deal with it. And it's time for time. I'm going to do the same thing to Laura Lee. And that's just how it's going to be. So the point is that when you get used to it, I can tell you what happens. It's addictive. And it's really addictive. And we're encouraging brokerages to start having peer partners like this. We're encouraging each other to do it. It is not okay to not take a day off a week. None of you are doing it. And this is the hardest market we've ever seen you guys operate in. The hardest freaking market. And if you want to see productivity go up, take the day off. Take the day off every single week and fight hard for it. Okay, but you're going to have a backup plan. You're going to have an emergency protocol within it. So when we take one day off a week, and I want you to challenge me on this. If anybody thinks it's not possible, bring up your concerns now, because the problem with this is that everything starts on this. So this means that if you guys don't do it and you don't take a day off, the rest of this isn't going to make sense. You're going to end up burnt out. And I want you to take time off this summer. I want this to be something that you're committed to doing for the whole quarter. So if there's an emergency, how we usually suggest is we say, perfect. If there's an emergency that Laura Lee can't handle, she can text me. I don't like 911 because that scares the shit out of me. Okay, I don't like that. But, she'd have like the word pineapple. Right? So maybe she'd have the word pineapple and be like, Marianne, pineapple. And I'd be like, okay, Laura, I got it. And then I can basically look at my phone and go, cool. I can tell you the amount of times that happens, 0. Almost never. Almost never happens because 99% of the time there is no emergency, none whatsoever. So I want to hear some feedback. Tara's got some good stuff here, right? Because if rest equals productivity, when I'm resting and come up with amazing ideas, suddenly I'm working on my day off. Okay, so that's the next problem. Wicked point. But you understand that that's okay. If creativity is coming when you're resting, that's what's supposed to happen. Creativity leads to production. Okay, if you are sitting there and all you're doing is thinking about work because you're resting, that tells me that you don't have anything planned. The biggest way, so what that means is that you need to get a life. And I say that with complete sincerity. That means get out and do stuff, right? So that means if I'm having dinner with, let's say, 6 or 7 or 8 people that I haven't seen in forever because it's my day off, or I'm hosting a dinner party and I've got to cook a bunch of stuff because I love hosting dinner parties. I love it. And so if I'm doing that, I don't have time to be thinking about work and working. The only reason that you have time, respectfully, to do work on your day off is because you don't have anything fun planned for yourself. And you've got to plan something fun. If I want to, I hop on a Via Rail train and I head out and I go to Montreal. It's $35, I think, for a day ticket to go to Montreal. I'll hop on a Via Rail. I'll download a movie. I'll read a book. I'll pretend that I have, like, I'm just who I am, and I'll go and I'll get a life and I'll do something. I'll do anything. Okay? And you can circle back to it for sure. But let me tell you something. The creativity is going to be there twice as much the next day. So it's going to be there. It's just you have to learn to play on your days off, guys. Right? And so somebody asked me the other day, is spending time with your kids a day off? Depends on your kids. There's some kids that I'd love to spend a day with. There's others that I'd be like, that is not a day off. That is a lot of work. It depends on you guys. And I think that, this is my whole thing, is I had a client recently send me a message. It was a very disturbing message. He was very stressed out. His partner had gone away, wedding photographer, and was gone on a shoot for 7 days, left at home with 2 small children, blah, 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 was having a breakdown because it was just so overwhelming. So we structured it out to have help for 1 day. Just 1 day, so he could zone out and go and just golf and just enjoy himself. And what it did was, it was remarkable. He came back totally refreshed, absolutely amazing. So it depends on the needs of your children. If you are not spending enough time with them, and a day off with them is something that would mean a lot to you, yes. But if you have very demanding children that you may need just a mental break, you will come back better for it. Okay, so that's the answer to that question. It's a judgment call, and you have to definitely talk to your partner about that. But you need 1 full day off every week. 1 long weekend every month is mandatory. Okay, with our clients, we force them to do this. It's important. And then 1 full week every quarter. We find that when our clients start to take 1 day off a week, it's the difference of night and day. Does anybody have any issues with this before we move on? Taking 1 full day off every single week. None of you are doing it. I can't imagine that you guys are thinking this is going to be easy. Can you find a partner at the office? Can you forward your stuff to somebody else? Somebody sent me a private message just now and said, Saturdays or Sundays? Ideally, Saturdays and Sundays are very busy in real estate. I can't imagine that you're going to be able to take a day off. If you're behind in your sales, or if you really want to get ahead on it, you're taking 1 long weekend off every month. Yeah, Svitko, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Ask away.
Okay. I did very quickly many years ago. I'm 68. I did aerospace engineering in my previous life, and I came across analysis that North Americans work overtime like crazy. And then in France and Germany, they have long vacations, paid vacations, and the most inventions are in Germany and France.
Yeah.
It proves your point.
You're amazing with that. So I used to live in south of France, and I went and lived in south of France, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on here? Everybody was like, looked great, lived longer, more productive. And I was like, what's happening here? And it was such a different environment that I was like, it was weird. It was like going into the Twilight Zone. But to his point, there is a lot of studies around, neuroscience. Anybody who works more than 55 hours a week, you're wasting your time. There's no productivity after 55 hours. There's like 1,000 studies on this. So those of you who are putting in more than 55 hours in 1 week, there's no point. You're actually not doing anything productive. That means you're wasting a lot of time. You shouldn't be working more than 55 hours a week. If you are, that means that there's things that we'll talk about in a second here. But to go back to his point, he's 100% right. We work way harder. I know how hard you guys work. You work way too hard, way too hard. And you have to remember, we sell houses. We don't save lives. We sell houses. And if we were saving lives and people were going to literally pass away, if we weren't on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we are the only industry, think about it, we are the only industry that is available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, all the time, and we're doing 17 freaking jobs all at once, and we're being told every day that we're not good enough, we're not producing enough, we're not here, we're not there, you have to do more. We are at that point now where it's like you need to take a step into what's happening. We are the second highest for clinical depression, second highest. So you need to get this shit together because we are way better productivity wise. Every time we implement the productivity, the protection portion in coaching, we see the agent's productivity go up. And what the most best part, I don't care if my clients are making $100,000 a week or not, the most incredible thing as a coach to see is when I get the messages. I don't know if I have it on me right now. I will show you. I'm not lying. I think those of you who know me know that I don't lie. But I will show you this. Now I cracked my phone screen, so please ignore it. But this is what I got from my coaching client. I just got that yesterday. That's a picture of his family and his 3 kids and his wife. And they just sent it to me. And they said, "We love you. Thank you so much." And they put it underneath there. And I said, "I absolutely love this. Thank you." And they're on a 2-week trip right now. He takes a day off every single week. His production is higher than it's ever been. And that's the life he lives. And that's what I live for because that's what it is all about. Okay. So try to follow the protect protocol, but you got to stand up for it and you have to stop making excuses because it's not going to work. Okay. Now you will see that for every 10 vacation hours that you take, productivity goes up 8%. So if you're Tamara and you are looking and you want to see the agents produce more in your office, guess what? Force them to take time off. If you are always like, we always talk to our broker owners and we always say, take a look at this. If every quarter your agents are proving that they're taking time off and they're not overworking, you're going to see production go up 8% every single quarter. It's incredible to watch. Most top producers take 19 days off a year. That's not including weekends. That means a minimum of 3 solid great vacations every single year, 3 weeks of major vacations. Okay. Strugglers are taking about 2 weeks off. Okay. Rest doesn't cost you deals. It protects your commission. This is a big one. Now, what we refer to as the attack is where A comes in. Over the summertime period, one of the things I want you guys to try doing is just try to do this. We've studied it again very aggressively. We suggest that every day, 5 days a week, you have before noon is your solid 90 minutes of lead gen every day. Now, we've tested in Ontario markets quite aggressively where lead gen and follow-up in another room and three income producing activities before noon every single day, 5 days a week. Get it out, get it over with. No matter what's happening in your life, we call it the attack zone. And when you're in the attack zone, it becomes way better because this is getting back to that zone that we talked about before, your peak performance zone. Some of you will need more than an hour and a half. Some of you might need 2 hours or 2.5 hours because you're newer, or maybe you've got other things that you're doing. Like your skill level may need to go up a little. Ideally, for a good performer, an hour and a half of solid focused lead gen and follow-up every day, 5 days a week is good enough. The problem is that we're distracted. Okay, so we always recommend doing that before noon, but we also recommend that your brain needs the time to do that. Now, the reason why is because when you're working in that zone and you're feeling good, you're going to actually be 5 times more productive. Okay, now if you go to 2 focused hours every single day, 5 days a week, so if you bump it up to 2 hours every single day of pure lead generation and follow-up where you're in the zone, happy to do it, it matches a person who puts 40 hours a week in. It's incredible. And that's your pipeline. That's your paychecks. It's all there. So when I did a study we had, I think it was something like 2,700 Ontario realtors. And we recently did it a couple months ago. I have an ISA team that just runs surveys. That's all they do. And so we did about 2,700 answers we got. And they were making phone calls. So out of 2,700 realtors, how many do you think? I mean, honestly, if I'm going to ask, let's go to RJ. RJ, out of 2,700 realtors in Ontario, how many do you think we're doing 2 hours a day, 5 days a week of pure lead gen, focused lead gen? What percentage do you think we're saying, yes, we do?
5%.
It was like literally between 5 and 8%. So she's right off the gate there. It's exactly it. This proves the point pretty aggressively that most people are actually not doing the work. All right. So be careful. All right. Now, this is why you're going to take time off. This is exactly why. Now, we're not going to get into the whole scientific thing. That's not the point. And I made this slide, too complex. So we're just going to leave it at this. I want you to think of one person, and this is the brain of one person. Okay, same brain, two states. So same person, two different states. When a person's working in that optimal zone, everything is all the geeky words that you've heard before, dopamine, endorphins, all that stuff. It keeps them focused, it keeps them creative, it keeps them happy is the endorphins, and the energy is in them. The minute you hit the overcapacity, the minute you get into not taking time off, operating 7 days a week, pressure of not being enough, pressure of social media, pressure of waking up, pressure of showing houses every single day and not taking any breaks. The minute you hit that overcapacity mark, you run into stress. You got the amygdala gets into this fight or flight. It becomes very, very, very confused. It can't think. Your judgment's gone. You're exhausted. Creativity out the window. You're not even happy. Okay, so this is exactly what happens when you have two different states. That's why it's dangerous. When you don't take a day off, you don't stay in your zone. You're going to live in overcapacity. I would say about 90% of realtors in Ontario right now are at overcapacity. They're not happy. They're not waking up feeling good. They're stressed out. They're not feeling great about themselves. They're feeling very tired. They're feeling very exhausted. They're not creative. They're not having fun anymore. And the solution is that time off. But remember, it's two different types of brains. One person. You're either in the zone, and if you're feeling it, you're like me. I am so happy consistently that it's ridiculous. Now, I'm not perfect, but when I hit overcapacity, every single person in my world knows it. And I know it. Okay, because overcapacity is when I'm snappy, I'm stressed out, I want to just jump on a keyboard and just like whatever, it comes across that way. So you have to recognize when you're over capacity and get back in the zone. It's not a good place to live. Okay, so staying in the zone will keep you where you need to be. Now we're going to talk about containing. Containing is really important. Okay, so when you're containing, I want you to turn notifications off and you need to stop doing the more. Okay, so this summer, your goal is to stop being the person who's responding to everybody at every time. You understand that if you give your clients focus, it's okay to tell your clients and say, I love it. When I message somebody and I get a message back and it says, I respond to emails at 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 5 p.m. So you'll be hearing from me within those windows. I'm like, cool, that's amazing. I mean, if Revenue Canada did that, that would be amazing. If Rogers did that, I'd be even happier, right? Hey, Marianne, it's okay. We'll respond back to you at 1 o'clock. Cool, amazing. But you have to learn how to contain and turn your notifications off on your phones. Stop being on all the time and really give up that more mentality. If you can't do that over the summertime is a great time to test that out. And it's okay. Your clients need the boundaries. They'll be fine with it. 76% of workers, people like ourselves, will check emails after hours and we never switch off. We don't switch. Oops, sorry. Let me go back here. I don't know why it went crazy like that. Okay, so every ping that your phone gets psychologically in your head pulls you out of things. Every ping, every single notification is off on my phone. Every single notification. I don't get any of them. I actually had people get mad at me because I missed about 4 or 5 text messages because I forgot that my notifications were off. And then everybody's like, you didn't respond back. And I'm like, that's right. That's right. You weren't an emergency. Can you imagine? I didn't respond in 3 hours. Yesterday, I'm flying to Calgary tonight, tomorrow. I'm flying to Calgary to go do a keynote presentation. And it was funny. They're like, people were texting me on a Sunday about my presentation. And you know what I did? I was out for a 4-hour run. I was like, I didn't check anything. I didn't even know. And they're like, you didn't respond. I'm like, yeah, imagine that. And the world continued. It did. And then the final thing that I want you to remember here, guys, is this: turn your hustle into a system. Okay. If you are doing, we have a 3 times rule. If you notice at the bottom, anything that you're doing 3 times over and over again, my rule of thumb is automate it, leverage it. 1 day a week, become your CEO and your admin. Jump in and say to yourself, if I'm doing something 3 times every single week or 3 times a month, if I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, it's time to automate it or turn it into a system. A lot of us are doing everything ourselves, right? So it's very hard for us to do. Okay. Great. That's excellent. So RJ, I love the comment. With that, you tell everyone that you're working with, actually, RJ, why don't you just say what you do? Share it with the group.
When I start working with a new client, I say I'm not like most realtors. I don't get back to my text messages right away. They're not my first priority. You can text me anytime you want. I will see it eventually. My biggest reason for doing that, I let them know, is because if I'm out on a showing with you and you're asking me questions and we're looking around a house, it's my job to be 100% present with you so that we don't miss something during that showing. If I've got my face in my phone sending a text message to someone else, I'm not representing you the way you deserve to be represented. And I'm also not giving 100% of my attention to the person that I'm texting as well. So everybody deserves 100% of my attention, but that does come at a cost. So if you're willing to work with that, then it's going to be a great fit. If you're looking for a fast response every time, tell me now, because that's not what you're going to get.
Hunter, I love that you did that. And
it's worked out really well.
Yeah, like nobody's like, the funny thing is that we always have these, it's our ego, but it's also our fear, right? Is we're really afraid, guys, to let go. You have to remember that we've trained you guys to be like this. And when I say we, I mean, we're all guilty of it. If you look at all the coaches online, we're all telling you to do more. We're all telling you that. Every single coach. And what you're going to see now is we're going to be talking a lot about this in the coaching industry. I'm stirring the pot saying, stop making agents do more. We need to be coaching and training you guys on getting better at skills, but we need to also be teaching you guys saying, look, you better take time off. No matter what, because it will be the association with time off and respecting your boundaries and having a mental wellness is actually the key to production. It's the number 1 key to production. You just don't talk about it enough because it's not attractive. It's a hard concept for people to get. But when you take time off, if I didn't do all the exercise or if I didn't compete in Ironmans, people are like, well, you're always on the go. Yeah, but that's my wellness. When I come back after doing an Ironman on a Sunday, I don't have to worry about it. I feel great. I feel amazing. I'm heading out to Germany in 2 weeks to compete. I'm really looking forward to it. Yes, it's stressful. It's going to be nerve-wracking and all the above, but I'm going to love every minute of it because work is not my only thing that defines me, but I'm also going to be a better state, better mentality, better everything. I can think clear. So the thing you have to remember is your clients won't fire you. They don't care. Okay. And I've always said this. I have a strong value between family and time off. Okay. Deanna, that's the part that you nailed. You just have to communicate it with your clients. Every coaching client I have understands that Fridays are my zone. We have a rule in my team. If you are on vacation, okay, if you are on vacation or I am on vacation, if anybody messages or asks a question of anybody who's ever on vacation, it's $1,000 fine. Not a $4 fine. It's $1,000. My operations person is gone for the last week and a half on vacation. The amount of times I wanted to message her and ask her where something was like up to here. I'm like, I don't know where anything is. I'm like, I literally don't. I'm like, honestly, I'm like, And so we're all laughing because I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to pay the $1,000, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. Right. And it's the same thing. When I'm in Germany, if they even message me once, they go into my email and they change my passwords. So it doesn't even come through. So I don't even get my emails when I'm gone because there's $1,000 fine to them if they bother me. So it's like we have to have the ability to protect the time at a high level. Your clients don't care. They don't care. If I refer them to Tara, they don't care. If I refer them to anybody on this, they don't care. They just care about that they're getting communicated, and you set the boundaries, but you have to do this. You have to remember something very clear about what we've created in this industry. We've created monsters, right? And the proof is that when you have systems that support your delivery, there's a 23% more profit in the business. But what I mean by that, which is a really interesting thing, okay? So, and what you have to remember is that this is, I'm going to see if I can, here it is here. So we took this whole thing and we tested a bunch of agents. This is a really cool thing. So when we took agent one, they were originally working 60 hours a week. Okay, so, and we did this now, I think we've ran multiple, like we're well over 30 or 40 case studies. So this one agent was working 60 hours a week, and they ended up getting 35 hours down to 35 hours. In that, their average was always 8 deals a year. We got them up to 14. Okay, now some of you might be like, well, 14 is not that impressive. Yeah, it actually is impressive, especially because they got 25 hours back of their life. Like they worked 25 hours less to get all that extra income. It's pretty damn impressive. And so they went from 130 to 240. That's not a failure. That is 100%. It's 110,000 more dollars. Same person, more structure. They started taking time off. They started having fun. They started enjoying themselves. Their brain got more creative. They started creating boundaries around their life. They started practicing their skills better. They started working in the zone. Instead of saying, I hate doing this, I hate doing it, they started working in the zone. And then what ended up happening is they started getting. And yeah, so what they did, Kim, they didn't have the money to, because at 130, you don't have a lot of money left to spare a lot of the time. So what they ended up doing, Kim, is that AI can automate almost anything right now. I mean, if you really want to, like, I don't believe that we should be giving up our whole lives to AI, but Kim, you can automate almost anything nowadays. You can have like your systems automated. You can have your reports automated. You can have your text messages automated. You can have automation running. So they just started working, Kim, on taking everything from that 3 things that they were doing, and they put the list together. Every time they did something 3 times or more, they would input it into AI and say, here's the list of things that I did 3 times or more this week. Tell me how to automate it. They did their emails in automation. They did their leads in automation, their follow-ups in automation. So they just started taking better care. And that's what ended up taking the 60 hours to 35, is that they were just spinning their wheels doing 100 different things. Instead of hyper analyzing, they started using AI to create their social media posts. They shaved off 6 hours a week on social media posts. It was incredible. Yeah, and Kim, you know what? Our next session, if you want, I'll do all AI and how to actually leverage it into exactly what we do. I'm pretty advanced in AI. I've been doing it for, I think now about 8 years, 9 years. And so we did at the Toronto Real Estate Board, some of you were there, we did our AI, with Geo and our AI for lead gen, but I can show you how to automate AI for everything. You can use, so this individual here for this case study, and if you have any questions, ask. But for this individual with the case study, they took the AI formatted and they just ran everything through it, and AI just went boom, boom, boom. But I would say that the social media was the biggest one. Is that, with AI, they were able to do that. The AI responding to all emails. You can go into, we do it all the time now, is we go into Claude and we gave Claude access to our emails, and we just say, create all the drafts for the month of June. So we created all the drafts for the month of June, and basically we hammered through and we cleared all our email. We went from June 15th to the 1st. We had a bunch of outstanding emails that I didn't pay attention to. It drafted all the responses. I just went into the draft and yes, 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 yes. It took less than 40 minutes to clear off an entire month of email. So it was like, it's what you do with the repetitive tasks and automation behind that. That's the key thing. So if you're looking, that was way more than that. So protect is taking 1 day off a week, 1 weekend a quarter, 1 week a quarter, and 1 long weekend. Okay, always. Okay, the long weekend isn't in here for some reason. Attacking, if you are really good at lead generation, it's 90 minutes every day, 5 days a week. If you're working on your skills and you're a little bit behind, bump it to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. But get in the zone, and it has to be before 12 o'clock. Always. Shut your notifications off, period. Contain 3 response windows. Let people know, this is when I respond. Put it in your auto replies, put it in your text messages. Don't worry, test it for a week. If you don't believe me, test it for a week. Watch what happens to your life if you put all 4 of these in place for 1 week. Engineer is you're building your systems. Every week, I want you to track what are 3 things that I'm doing every single week, that like 3 repetitive things. So what are they? You know what? Lead generation can't be one of them, by the way. I just saw a private message come into me where somebody's like, wow, lead generation. How do I get that? Well, you can automate it if you want, but get on it, right? And be like, anything that you're spending three times, automate. If you are writing blogs, if you are doing social media, what are you doing every single week that is automatable or replicable? And nowadays, almost everything is. Almost everything is. So protecting, attacking, containing, and engineering. Those are the 4 key things that I need you guys to really focus on. Any questions about this? Because I want you guys to, my challenge for everybody on here, and Tamara is watching, I know she knows who's on here. Okay, every single person who's on here, my challenge is going to be starting with 1 day off a week. You have to try it for 7 days. Just give it a shot and walk away from it. If you're asking, if half a day, no, it's very clear. 1 day. 1 day is a 24-hour cycle. You wake up in the morning, you are not a realtor. You are who you are. Go have fun. Laundry is not fun, so don't tell me laundry is fun, okay? I'm a Virgo. I like clean shit, but that's not fun, okay? Yeah, Kim, it is a lot. It is a lot, but it's also one of the things that you have to remember is that it's like you've built yourself into a machine. It's not normal what I see out there. It's not normal to see people working at the level that you guys are working. And you what you have to understand, Kim, is your production will double. It will double. It always does. It always does. I've done this long enough to know that your production is going to double. Okay? And yeah, and you know what? I like that. If you can name it, you can tame it. I like that. But yeah, so if you're protecting 1 day off a week, you're 24 hours, go get a life. Okay? So you have to go get a life. And find somebody in your office time for time. And if you're, like I said, broker owner, you should be putting that in place to say, hey, we're going to try something out here. We really want you guys to take a rest, take some time off, enjoy yourself. Okay. There's a message. I won't read it to you. There's a message that a client sent me the other day and they were just overwhelmed. And we went back, and the first thing to know that if somebody has a problem with operating in the zone, the first thing I ask all the time, when was the last full day off a week that you took? It breaks my freaking heart to hear it. It's like, it's not okay, because I know that production is tied to this. And you will see almost every coach in the entire industry is going to start talking about this shit. We're all going to start talking about it because it's like, we're done. We're watching too many realtors fade away or understand that they're putting too much on their plate. And it's like, no, just protect it. Take 1 day off a week. You can go hard the rest of the time. Attack it 90 days to 2 hours. So an hour and a half to 2 hours, 5 days a week before noon. Lead generate, get in the zone. And remember, we want to get back there. Remember what the zone looks like. Okay. We don't want to look at that picture. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. Remember the zone. This is the sweet spot. If you are in the zone, you are challenged, you are engaged, you're peaking. It's where you feel like that 2 hours is not punishment. You're in it. Too little, then you're bored and you're just checked out of the industry. So you may need to be pushed a little, and that zone will get you there. But if you're overwhelmed, frazzled, and you're in breaking point, it's because you're too much. And you got to put those 4 barriers around you and protect yourself. This is a very important structure. So I'm going to challenge you guys, because if you can do it in 1 week, and I'd love you guys to send me messages on school and let me know how you're doing with this. And if you're struggling with this, I want you to reach out to me too, because we have a lot of you sometimes aren't comfortable asking the questions here, but we want to make sure that you do it. Okay. The key to the production is, remember, rest is part of creativity. Rest. Very interesting concept. This is an industry that has pushed us way too hard, way too long, and we need to take a rest. Rest is part of creativity. This is your summer goal. Creativity is part of productivity. You will see everything open up and change. You will see it all come to fruition, I promise you. Okay? So guys, I want you to give it a shot. I'm going to check in with Tamara. I'm going to load this video up, And if you have questions, hit me up on school. I'm there, okay? And those of you who filled out the goal sheet, I like it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to school. We'll post it there. Okay? We'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.